Did Miss Climer ever tell you that you might not be the father of these two children?
Like it was a couple times, like when she got mad at me and she went to somebody else's house, like before she got pregnant with
Okay,
Alan.
that's the reason for the question. Don't be offended. If the state finds out that you're lying to me, I'll submit your name to the DA's office for aggravated perjury, and you could be looking up to 10 years in the penitentiary, right?
If I have him for like half the year and she had him for like half the year and everything, I still gotta provide for them, like
Yes.
both households. Like my point is, since she considered remarried and everything,
This is in the District Court of Tyler County, Texas, and it's in the interest of Adeline and Elijah Wallace. Mr. Wallace, before we went on the record, you told me that you wanted to have a DNA test for the two children that are subject to the suit in my court today. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Wallace, you are aware that you signed legal acknowledgements of paternity for both of these children, and they are on file with my court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. In order for you to satisfy the needs of the court, you're going to have to give me some facts to lead me to believe that you're entitled to DNA testing, because legally you are already the father of these two children. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Wallace, give me some facts that leads me to believe that you might need a DNA test.
I'm not gonna say like my auntie or nothing, but all right. So Don live at 806 Robin Road in Woodville, and it's some people that live like across the street from them that like know that we was talking and everything. And they said they seen like some guys and stuff over there, like around the same
All right,
time.
so Mr. Wallace, the first piece of fact that you want to give me is information that you learned from a third party.
Yeah, then it's
Yeah, that's
another.
not good enough. You
Yeah,
have,
it's
let me see if I can help you, Mr. Wallace, because this is the problem when people don't know the law and they don't have an attorney. Did Miss Climer ever tell you that you might not be the father of these two children?
I don't know if she said it out of anger, but I think she has said it before.
Okay, so you think she may have said that to you, but you don't know that for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um,
Like it was a couple times, like when she got mad at me and she went to somebody else's house, like before she got pregnant with
okay.
Alan.
So do you know personally yourself, Mr. Wallace, whether or not Miss Climer was having sexual relations with anyone besides you at the time that either or both of these children were conceived?
I don't know for a fact.
Okay. So you're guessing or you're speculating that she might have been.
Yes.
All right. Miss Climer, you're under oath. Did you ever tell Mr. Wallace that he was not the father of either of these two children?
No.
Right. Were you having sexual relations with any other men at the time that either of these two children was conceived?
No.
Right. Mr. Wallace, do you have any other facts that would lead me to believe that you are not the father of the children?
Not facts.
Your witnesses have been sworn, Mr. McNulty. You may call your first witness in regards to the suit affecting parent-child relationship for Adeline and Elijah. I have listened to testimony in regards to Mr. Wallace and Ms. Climer. In regards to Mr. Wallace's request for DNA testing, his request is denied. Go ahead, Mr. McNulty.
At this time, the state will call Ms. Climer. Ms. Climer, do you have any safety concerns about your address or contact information potentially being disclosed in any order that the court enters today?
So you're just talking about my current address or just like
Yes, ma'am.
No.
And any future address? Do you have any concerns about any future address being disclosed?
Yes.
And what are your safety concerns about any future address you might move to being disclosed?
Just because we tend to go, I don't know how to explain it.
Has there been any?
I guess we tend to blow hot and cold, and we do have a past of problems between us.
Have there been
and
any family violence in the past?
Kind of like me and him have had our problems in the past.
Has there been any police involvement?
They've came out, but I don't know. They've came out, but nothing, really just been done.
When was the last time when there was an incident with the police involvement?
Probably trying to remember. Probably maybe this time last
So about a year ago in March
year,
of 2023.
yeah, like January or March.
Um, and what are the names and dates of birth of your two children?
You said the names and dates of birth?
Yes, ma'am.
Adeline Wallace, 8/22/20, and Elijah Wallace, 9/19/21.
And who do your children live with?
Myself,
And who makes the important day-to-day decisions for your children?
myself.
Do you have any concerns about Mr. Wallace being able to act as a co-parent of your children? And that includes making decisions with you for your children, like decisions with their religious upbringing, education, and healthcare.
Yes.
And what are your concerns about Mr. Wallace being able to act as a co-parent of your children?
I mean, we just have differences of opinion when it comes to like the things that you mentioned. And I guess, I don't know, just certain decisions that he makes, I just don't necessarily agree with. And sometimes I just think, I mean, there's like an age difference between us. And sometimes I just think that some of the things he does are just kind of more immature or like young thinking. I don't know.
Has Mr. Wallace ever visited with your children?
Yes.
Have they ever stayed with him overnights?
Yes.
Would you have any concerns about Mr. Wallace having the right to pick up your children and bring them to stay with him overnights every other weekend?
No.
What kind of health insurance do you have for your two children?
Medicaid.
And do you have any access to any private health insurance that's affordable to you?
No.
And did you and Mr. Wallace ever are you going to want this court to consider ordering Mr. Wallace to pay any back child support?
Yes.
Did you and Mr. Wallace ever reside together as a couple?
Yes.
And when did you both separate?
November of 2021.
Okay, so this was after your younger child,
Oh.
Elijah, was born.
But if you're talking about the living together, I guess July 2021.
Okay, so you stopped living together before Elijah was born?
Yes.
Okay. And since you both separated, has Mr. Wallace provided you with any financial assistance to help with your childcare expenses?
Do you count like a pack of diapers here and there? Or do you mean like him giving, like, what do you?
I don't count a pack of diapers.
Okay, well then that's the assistance, like a pack of diapers here and there.
All right. Thank you. I have no further questions. I pass the witness.
Call you next week.
At this time, the state will call Mr. Wallace. Mr. Wallace, do you have any other minor biological children who are below the age of 18?
Yes.
How many other minor biological children do you have?
One.
And does this child live in the household with you?
Yeah, yes. Me and the mom is separated, but we share custody.
Are you paid hourly?
Yes.
How much do you make an hour?
$8.
You said $8 an hour?
28.
$28 an hour. And how many hours do you work? 40-hour week on average?
See, that's the thing. We work off of dispatchers. It's a part-time job. So
how many hours do you work on average each week?
like I don't got no full-time job. So it's like it's part-time. So it just depends on how many days we out. We work 12-hour days. Like
Okay,
the
so
last,
what? So
last-
on average, how many hours do you work on average each week, making 28 an hour?
maybe 36 on average.
You said 36 on average?
Yeah.
And do you have any other sources of income
No.
and no other jobs?
No, sir.
And Do you agree with Ms. Climer's testimony that you both separated sometime in July of 2021?
Is it July? Eli was born in September. We separated in November. That's when we stopped talking. We stopped living together maybe in July, August, somewhere around that time.
And since Elijah was born, how much financial assistance have you given Miss Climer to help with their childcare expenses?
Well, the only thing that she be asking me for is like diapers. Why are you saying I be going to get them clothes? Other than that, I send her money every now and then, but it's wasn't.
How much have you sent her over the past 4 years?
Money was
Yes.
nothing really, because I pay for all their stuff. Like I'm the one that I help them. I pay for all their stuff.
What do you pay for?
Like I pay for like whatever we want to do for their birthdays, and
Do you pay any of their bills?
I pay clothes. I got them on life insurance.
And how long have you been working at this current job you're at for?
Well, I got hired on in November. I got hired
No.
on in November, but I didn't have my first job until like mid, like towards the end of January. Because we work in November. That's when they started slowing down for all the holidays and everything.
What were you doing before you started this job in November?
I worked at Georgia Pacific.
And how long were you at Georgia Pacific for?
About a little bit over a year.
And what were you doing for Georgia Pacific?
I was working on a layup.
And how much were you making when you were at that job?
I started off at 19. I ended it with like 22.
And then before that, what kind of work were you doing before you did the Georgia Pacific? You said you started that about you were
Walmart.
there for about a year. You were
I
at
worked.
Walmart.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how much you making and how long were you at Walmart for?
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh,
Have you changed jobs frequently over the last 4 years?
yes, I have moved jobs over the last 4 years.
Was there any period of time when you were unemployed?
Yes,
How long were you unemployed for during the last 4 years?
I was unemployed maybe about 8 months out of the last 8 months
And
to
was there any period of time when you were incarcerated over the last 4 years?
incarcerated, like in jail.
Yes.
Hell, no.
Okay. Okay. All right. I have no further questions. I pass the witness.
One of the defenses to retroactive child support, Mr. Wallace, is if you were incarcerated during the period of time that I'm going to set retroactive child support. Okay, that's why he asked you. And
Okay.
actually, believe it or not, Mr. Wallace, it's more common than you think.
Okay.
So that's the reason for the question. Don't be offended. They're asking me to go back the full 33 months in child support against you. And if there was any of that period of time that you were incarcerated, I wouldn't have set child support against you for that period. Miss Climer, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Well, what I was going to say is how he said he works 36 hours on average. I just didn't know if that was accurate, because I mean, how we were talking about how he gets the kids on his off days or whatever. He's normally gone for like a week at a time. So I would just think it would be more than 36 hours if he's working 12s and he's gone for a week. That equals more than 36.
You could be
And then-
correct, Miss Climer, but unfortunately, I'm in the business of specifics. So unless you know specifically how much money he makes and how many hours a week, I'm probably just going to have to go with an average.
Okay.
I mean,
And
generally speaking, I like to see paycheck stubs, but that hasn't been provided for me in this case, so I'm just guessing.
Okay. And the only other thing was well, never mind. I mean, I had something else about the income, but I guess what if I don't have any proof of it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because we're
Okay.
at this
All
point in time, we're just kind of guessing.
Okay.
You know, he said he's averaging 36. You know, 40 is what you're supposed to work. So 40 is what it's going to be based on.
Yes, sir. No, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about like if he has another income, but I don't have proof of it, then it
Yeah, then
doesn't
we're
matter.
just guessing.
Okay.
Do you have, Mr. Wallace, is that the only form of income you have?
Yes, sir.
You know you're under oath, Mr. Wallace. If the state finds out that you're lying to me, I'll submit your name to the DA's office for aggravated perjury, and you could be looking up to 10 years in the penitentiary, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, as long as you're aware of the law and what you could be facing, if you are in fact lying to me, then I'm okay with it. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Ms. Climer, when you do these trials, a lot of these trials by Zoom, you're just kind of limited by what information they can actually get and give to me, okay?
Okay.
But those are good questions. Mr. Wallace, you got anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Cause like how we doing the kids and everything. Like right now, I done had the kids and everything. Like I maybe out the last couple of years or so, I maybe done had them like at least half of the year.
Okay. So what's your point?
So my point is, if I have them for like half the year and she had them for like half the year and everything, and I still gotta provide for them, like
Yes.
both households, like
Yes.
if they here and when they there.
Right.
So my point is, like, I know y'all about to go based off of my income and everything like
Right.
that. So since she considered remarried and everything,
Mm.
and he should be able to work,
Mm.
like when she have to, have like some type of
Right.
income.
Yeah, Mr. Wallace, maybe you need to go talk to an attorney about that and maybe figure out if there was some other avenue you could have looked into before this case got in front of me today.
Okay.
I mean, those are definitely something that could have been investigated, that could have been a discovery process to check into. Calendars could have been prepared to show exactly when and how the children are exchanged. But unless I've got something specific, it's kind of like your income, Mr. Wallace. Unless somebody gives me something specific to negate what it is that you told me, then you're just kind of stuck with the fact that you get the children extra time and it's just a glorious thing to be a good dad.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. I want to address the issue in regards to the address in the court order, Ms. Climer. In the state of Texas, I am required by law to put everybody's addresses in my court orders because they're dealing with children. You with me so far?
Yes, sir.
If you don't want to have your address in the court order, you have to prove to me, Ms. Climer, that there is a history of family violence in the last 2 years. And I don't think that has been proven to me, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I have to put the addresses in the court order. Any request for non-disclosure is denied. That's just the law, Ms. Climer, and sometimes they need to have a better way of explaining that to you. It's not just, oh, I don't want to have my address in the court order. No, your address is required to be in the court order by law. So unless you want to create an exemption in that court order, your address has got to be there, okay? The father has to know where to come to meet you so he can do the exchange of the children for his visitation.
Okay.
That's the reason for that information in the file. The court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find based on the testimony of the parties. I mean, it's certainly in the children's best interest to name the parties as joint managed conservators, with the mother as the parent with the right to establish the primary residence of the child. There's no domicile restriction in Tyler County, so we won't have one in the order. Mr. Wallace will have visitation at any and all times mutually agreed to by the parties. If no mutual agreement, then at least standard possession. I'll find that the mother will maintain the health insurance that she has on the children at this time. Child support in this case, I'll give Mr. Wallace credit for the other dependent. I didn't hear anything contradictory, so he gets credit for the other dependent. Child support $730 a month for 2 children with 1 other dependent. Medical support's $120 a month. Retroactive child support in the amount of $8,760. That retroactive will be paid back at a rate of $75 a month. Court costs will be due by Mr. but I'll give him until September the 30th of 2024 to pay the court costs. All child support payments in this case are going to begin April the 1st of 2024, Mr. McNulty. Mr. McNulty, did the state of Texas hear all the terms and conditions of my court order?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Wallace, Ms. Climer, what's going to happen now is Mr. McNulty's office is going to prepare a court order for me. If it matches what I said here today, I'm going to sign it and get it back to them. Then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to each of you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate you both being here today. Hopefully,
said-
I'm sorry, Mr. Wallace.
A month.
How much is it a month? $850. Child support it's 9.25 because you got $730 for the child support, $120 for the medical, and $75 for the retroactive child support. So, yep, that's what the order is.
How much was it for back child support?
$8,760. I basically hit you for 1 year of retroactive child support. That's what I set it at. Didn't have a whole lot of wage information on you for the time prior to that. I thought $8,700 was sufficient. Well, that's the ruling. Y'all, you will get a copy of it once to sign it.
Child support was set at $571.
Woo!